I'm going to take you step by step through 3 of the most simple, easy practices for you to do that are the least invasive. You can do them pretty much anywhere, any time of the day, and they don't take long, they don't take much energy, and they're very, very cheap. I'm going to walk you through one practice that's really good for widening your peripheral vision, another practice that's really good at improving your responsiveness, your reaction timing, and then a third one to improve your balance and stability. I'm going to lay out the progression of each practice so you can start at the very root basics and then work your way up from there, or just jump in where you feel most comfortable. And then I'll take you all the way up to the top of like extreme expert. And if you stick around till the end, I'll talk to you about the app that I use in conjunction with all 3 of these practices that just streamline the whole thing and make this even easier. So let's get into it. I've got 3 different things. They all include an item, and the items are sitting behind me somewhere. See if you can spot those. Here's a shot of me out of the frame. See if you can find what you think is the very first. If you pick tennis balls that you noticed up there on that top shelf, you'd be right. And they've got a significant purpose. You're going to learn to expand your peripheral view. As a motorcycle rider, having an expanded peripheral is very beneficial because we can only focus on one point. But if we can see a bigger view around that and really give our attention to that whole area, we can perceive objects in the road, we can perceive potholes, we can perceive all sorts of things, the trail as we're riding up it. So going over how to implement this, how to use these. Level 0 is very simple. Toss a ball and catch it with one hand. Very easy. Now the next level up progression from that is tossing a ball and catching it with your other hand. For a lot of you, this might also be easy. But if you find difficulty in the following steps, just go back to those first 2 there. And this is where you really start to expand your peripherals. You've built some muscle memory around tossing the ball. Now you're going to look into the horizon, which is where you always want your focus to be on a motorcycle. And it doesn't have to be the horizon. It could just be an object in the room. And then you focus on it and toss the ball left to right, left to right. So that's the 3rd step in progression. Now, the further you remove it from your center point of view, the further out in your peripherals that you put it, the more distant it is from that focal point, the more you're going to be working to expand that peripheral view. The 4th step in the progression is to implement a 2nd ball. So just focus on the horizon or a center point in the room and toss the balls. Toss both balls. And then an extreme level of skill is juggling 3 balls while maintaining that center point focus in the distance. Jeez. Keep working on it. You'll get it. Some notes to take if you really want to get extreme with this and the other skills in this video is to reduce the light or reduce the color of the ball or both. So the lighting in your environment really helps you perceive things, and the less of that you have, the more difficult it is for your mind to process. So changing the balls to a darker colored ball instead of a neon green will make things more difficult, and also reducing the lighting. Now, practice number 2. It's also back there. Can you spot it? If you guessed the little red ball on the table, well, you'd be right. And if you haven't seen one of these before, it's referred to as box ball, or at least there's a product called box ball. This is a training exercise for boxers particularly, or somebody in that type of sport. However, this skill can lend a lot of benefit to us as motorcyclists. And I'm going to show you how to implement those practices with this. The box ball is very simple. It's a headband with a string, a rubber band, and a ball at the end of it. Put it on your head. You're supposed to set the string about arm's length away like this, and you just box the ball. I do recommend, if you're doing this, wear safety glasses. I've had that string pop me in the eyeball and it hurts, and you don't want to mess up your eyes. Wear some safety glasses. These box balls can be found on Amazon, all sorts of knockoff versions, and then the box ball brand is probably there as well. Get yourself one or a set or a couple, and then you can start into these practices. The primary purpose is to increase your reaction timing, or your responsiveness. And this was kind of born from me talking to my optometrist about how motorcycle riding and our vision are very important. And then she started discussing things that she was familiar with, like the way baseball players train their eyes. She said that they go into dark room batting cages and use strobe lights to train their brain to fill in the void of light between each strobe as the ball progresses towards them. And I thought, wow, that's really intense training, but how can I translate that into and incorporate that into something specific for motorcycle riders? And this is kind of what was born. My original idea included having the box ball and utilizing it with a strobe light. And I have to tell you, I've not come anywhere close to finding success with that because it is intensely difficult. Yeah, that's kind of at the peak of the difficulty level. But before you get to doing this with a strobe light, I'm going to walk you through the progression of each basic step to kind of get you more advanced. I can't promise you'll be doing it with a strobe light though. So the very basic level is just using the ball and the headband, the system as it's designed. Just using this and practicing punching it, practicing hitting it, practice just keeping it bouncing one after the other after the other. What you'll find is quite commonly your thumb will get hooked on the string. So you got to learn to keep your thumb out of the way and just practice hitting the ball. Focus on the ball and keep hitting it. After you can get about 10 to 20 hits consistently on the ball without missing, you know you're ready to advance to the next level. And the next level of progression with the box ball is looking into the distance. It's the same as the previous practice where you're just kind of focusing on one singular focal point in the room and maintaining that focus while hitting the ball. So now you're really starting to add to your motorcycle skills. Now that you're focusing in the distance and responding to a local object. Once you get where you can hit maybe 20 of these in a row consistently while focusing on the horizon or focusing on an object kind of head level in the room, you know you're ready to advance. And the next level of progression with the box ball is reducing the light. So I wouldn't say go full strobe light. Unless you want to, it's up to you. But I would say reduce the light. And if your box ball kit comes with a different colored ball, for instance, mine came with a black one as well, you can switch to the darker colored ball, and that'll also increase the challenge of it all. After reducing the lighting, changing the color of the ball, the next step in progression is the extreme, and that is using the strobe light, as I mentioned earlier. That is extremely difficult. Good luck. Huh. 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 Come back, ball. Ah. Ah. And remember, stick around till the end because I'm going to tell you all about the app that I use in conjunction with these practices that help streamline it and just make it go real smooth, real fast, real easy. Now, the last thing is also sitting back there. And if you guessed what it is, and you said something like putting on a straitjacket and running for your life, you'd be wrong. However, if you pointed at this thing on the top of my ramp, you would be right. I'll give you a quick rundown of what it consists of. It's a 22-inch wide 2x4, and it's that wide because I measured the width of the pegs on my motorcycle, and they're about 21 and a half. So I've cut this at 22 because it imitates the width of the pegs of a motorcycle. Got some grip tape. Across the middle, we've got some grip tape on the bottom, and we've got 2 safety stoppers and 3-inch PVC pipe, 12 inches long. That's a simple idea, balance. But it's quite dynamic because the PVC pipe can roll. Similar products to this board are available. You can find them on Amazon and plenty of other retailers, but the difference between this one and those is those are built for snowboarding, skateboarding, and surfboarding. This one is built for motorcycles. If you'd like me to make some of these and put them up for sale, I will if I can get 20 or more comments requesting it. So if you're interested in buying one of these from me and having me produce these, go down to the comments and let me know. I'll actually give away a few to some of the people that commented if that comes up. The purpose of the balance board is to increase your ability to balance, but also strengthen all the muscles in your lower leg and around your ankles that help you stabilize, that help that stability happen. Strengthen those muscles. I've always heard that gymnasts make fantastic motorcycle riders. In fact, a couple of stunt riders that I've met were gymnasts before they were stunt riding, and they were really good. They spend a lot of time mastering their body, playing on a balance beam. This is a similar way of training your body and your mind together, but it's specific for motorcycles. So you do have to make yourself one of these or buy something similar. Now there's a progression of things as you get better with this, and it starts right here. Just take the balance board, set it on the ground, and just stand on it. Place your feet on each edge of it, the ball of your foot specifically. And this is simple. Move your body around and just feel your center of balance and give it about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, set a timer, and just work it until those muscles in your lower leg around your ankle really start to burn. Now you're developing those muscles. After you do this for a while, you get really good at it. Your muscles aren't burning after a minute. Move up to the next level of progression, which is implementing the PVC pipe under the board. This is a little dangerous, hence the safety stoppers. And it can also slide out pretty quickly from you if you don't have the skill built up. So an easy way to do this, and that's why it's the second step of progression, is to put it on carpet, put the roller on carpet or a soft surface that can kind of absorb the movement of it, like grass. And you can use those surfaces to reduce or increase the friction around it and make it not move so quickly or easily. Now, put the board across it, try to balance on it. When you're able to hold this balance for maybe 30, 45 seconds in the grass or on the carpet, now it's time for the next step of progression. And that is a hard surface. Putting your roller on a hard surface, putting your board on it, balancing. Spend some time doing that. After a week, you get really good at it. You'll find that it's easier to balance on the board when you focus on it, when you look down and focus on it. This is how I started in my progression and how I've learned and gotten better. And that's why the fourth level of progression is to look in the distance. Now you're going to shift your focus from looking down at what you're doing down there to looking out. Because as motorcyclists, our vision should always be focused outwards. I do want to say, if you find it just way too difficult to find some balance on the board with the pipe on the grass or on the carpet, what you can do is get yourself something like a Bosu ball or a similar balance development tool and use that for a little bit until you kind of develop that skill with the dynamic balancing. And then you can move in back over to using the board. Just the same as the other practices that I've went over, the balance board becomes harder. And yes, that's the next step. So by reducing the lighting in the room, you increase the difficulty of it. But remember, maintain that focus in the distance. I think this is a phenomenal tool for developing balance, and I would love to turn it into a product, but there are a lot of other available products that are so similar to this that I've been hesitant to create a product. So if you want to see it become a product, if you want it to grow, let me know in the comments, post a comment and ask about buying one. And if I can get 20 of those comments, I'll go ahead and start having these manufactured, made, and I'll package them just for you guys. Now, as promised, the app that I use with these is a simple timer called an interval timer. And here's a screenshot from my phone showing you what the app looks like. And this is specifically for Android, but I used to have an iPhone, and I know you can get similar apps on an iPhone. So find yourself an interval timer. And that way you can easily program the timer to have 1 minute intervals. It lets you know when the minute is up. And if you decide to implement all three of these practices, you can do them back to back to back. Oh, let's go to there. And you can see I've got 9 sets, 1 minute per. So if I do all 3 exercises 3 times, that's 9 sets. And between each one, I have a 12-second rest. And this app is so awesome. Once you hit go, it counts down for you. And when it gets to 3, it lets you know. And the most important thing to advancing yourself in these practices is doing them daily. Even every other day or every 3 days. If you just do it twice a week, but you do it twice a week consistently, you're going to see phenomenal growth. Save this video to your skills development playlist. Thanks for watching, guys. Live free, ride hard, and I'll see y'all on the next one.